welcome to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr, and yeah, happy energy update, everyone. I really wanted to just pop on and just to share some things that have been, coming to the forefront of my mind that I know that the galactic teams want me to share, and also Spirit as well. And yeah, the energy has been real tricky of late. I've been really starting to feel this thin veil that we have at the moment, and I'm coming into autumnal season here in the northern hemisphere, and it's October, so that time for the veil to be thinning is happening now. And I'm starting to feel that shift that's happening, that shift that we were told about a lot of darker and negative energy sort of coming to the surface. And this is going to look very differently. This is going to look incredibly different depending where you are in your journey, is what I want to share. And I'm someone that can see into the other realms. I'm someone that can see these other entities, see these other beings. But a lot of the time, this negative energy does just come through as these heavy weights that we are feeling, this idea of lack or loss or grief, or crippling depression is what I want to share. And I think there is there's a real thin line between what is actually here for us to be experiencing and things that we just don't need to be engaging in. So I think what I wanted to share was just to make sure that you are strengthening your resolve at this time and coming back to your basic daily practices. I realized when I was sitting in a lot of this dark energy, and you can go back and start the darkness series, so it's been 2 episodes from now, and I speak about harboring a lot of this dark energy for me to physically process through my vessel so that it can be a rippled effect out for the rest of this planet. And I realized after coming out of that spell, I was really out of alignment with my daily practices, and things just didn't feel the same. And, my teams have come in to say that there has been almost like a disconnect that happens, when we are given these upgrades, when we are ascending pretty quickly. It's almost like a disconnect that happens, that, everything feels disjointed or out of alignment, or doesn't feel as strongly connected in as it once did. And I've definitely been sat in that space. So I've been having to go back to my daily practices, to be changing my daily practices, and to really be feeling into what I need right now in this present moment. And I think a lot of you might be there right now in your journey, and having to look at what you've been doing to expand, how you can change up your practice to be benefiting you now. Because I think we forget that we change at such a rapid rate, especially now. I feel like a different being every single day, and I will keep reiterating this, that when you wake up in the morning, please just check in with yourself and how you feel, because you will start to see just how much your reality shifts and just how much you shift in your spaces daily when you start checking in with yourself. And I check in with myself in the morning, I check in with myself in the afternoon and the evening as well. So I just have those 3 focal points where I switch gears, and and I'm asked to be shown, my energy, where I'm sat right now, and how I can best help myself in the next few hours. And I think this is what we're having to do. We're really having to take each day by hour by hour, minute by minute for some of you, because there is a lot happening all at once. And as expansive souls that know that we aren't just here, we're in other spaces as well, and a lot of you have been experiencing that, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about that in a moment. But this idea of being in multiple spaces at once, and us feeling into all of that. The veil is so thin, we're becoming super duper sensitive like never before to all the energy. So you really have to be looking after yourself and really trying to pinpoint where you are any given moment, so that you can switch your energy. It's up to us to take responsibility for how we feel about something, how we respond to something, and to be lifting our own vibration. And this is something that takes a lot of time, takes a lot of dedication to self. And sometimes we don't want to come back to these daily practices. I definitely know I found a massive struggle with me trying to come back and trying to sit, because I feel like I have a million one things that I need to be doing. And time again, my teams are like, please just sit, like we need you, we need to help you recalibrate your energy, and then you can go back to work. So take that time, everyone. If you needed someone to validate that for you and to say to you, please take that time, because you need it, and we are going to need it moving forward. This is a daily battle that we are in, and it is a fight for your stability, for your mental strength, for your energetic body to be in the highest vibration possible. And I don't like toxic positivity at all, but I think there are spaces where we can be looking after ourselves a little bit more, to be raising our vibration, so that we're not just sat in this dense energy, because that is what these other beings out there want us to be sat in. And I've been experiencing a lot of psychic attacks, a lot of attacks on my mental capacity to be showing up and to be engaging engaging with the realms that I know to be true, and to be engaging with my teams. And, you know, this was a slow trickle in, and it was a lesson for me to remind me, you know, that I always have to have protection around myself, and, you know, to be aware of when my energy slips. And I was in such dark energy that when I came back, it was almost like I'd forgotten how to do everything. So I've been really starting again from this entire process. I'm really starting from the beginning and combing through my daily practices and making sure that I'm doing everything that I can to be helping myself feel the best that I can every single day. And I think that is where a lot of you find yourselves right now in this journey. And, you know, there is no greater time to start than now. And I think it's real easy to think I'll do it tomorrow or next week, or, you know, it feels too big, when actually the best thing that we can do is take those small steps every day to be helping ourselves feel a little better. Which leads me on to crystals. And I will keep talking about crystals because they are amazing, and I realize when I'm really lacking, I will come back to my crystals. And, you know, I sleep with crystals, I have crystal bracelets on me, I have you know, a crystal on me somewhere at all times. And I think some of you out there might not be engaging with crystals as deeply as you possibly could, or you have them and you haven't been utilizing them. Because, yeah, Galactic Teams and Spirit very much came forward and wanted me to speak a little bit about crystals, and I'm going to start sharing a bit more in depth about crystals on my Instagram. So if you do want to follow over there, you can follow me on The Awakening Star. But I brought in selenite, which I use every morning to be disengaging from my energy time in my dreams. And I've said this before, but if you come back from astral traveling, you know, a lot of the time we bring in a lot of that energy into our, you know, plane of existence where we are here and now, and that is not necessarily what we need to be engaging in. And, you know, I speak to our other light renegades and other expansive souls, and, you know, we're engaging in quite extreme, you know, scenarios, situations, and things that we don't want to be interfering with where we are right now, because that's not what we should be doing. So we really have to take care of ourselves, and grabbing some selenite and, you know, just placing this all over the body, and dispelling that energy. And, you know, our words are spells, so start using your speech a lot more, everyone. And perhaps some of you might need to be thinking about how you're speaking to yourself, and if you're speaking kindly to yourself, because that really does, you know, shape our day. How we speak to ourselves, what we think about ourselves, that is really something that does shift our energy. So be looking into that as well, everyone. How are you speaking to yourself? How can you be helping yourself feel better throughout the day? But selenite is great for cleansing your crystals, cleansing your body, and distracting from any energy that you don't want to be around you at this time, and cutting cords with people as well. So I cut cords with everyone, I cut cords with all of you, anyone that watches my content, my family, my friends, you know, just to make sure that I'm in my own energy, because that's where we should be. We shouldn't be picking up energy, you know, left, right and center from other people, other beings, you know, unless we've called that in, unless that's a specific time that we've asked to be, you know, engaging with our guides. And I had to put those boundaries in with my guides too, and other entities and spirits when I first started, you know, being able to tap in, because it's not possible to be engaging with everything all at once. So some of you might be in that space too. So make sure that you are disengaging from energies when you're finishing working with them. Those that are, you know, in these healing practices, in these modalities where we are working with other people, make sure that you are cutting your energy off from others, is what I want to share after you've been in a space with them, because that is going to help you feel a lot more stable in your energy. I've also brought in some clear quartz, which is just a staple that I think everyone should absolutely have when they are, you know, engaging in other, because it helps transmute your own energy. You can send, you know, your negative energy to this crystal, and for that to be transmuted, but also to amplify anything that you are experiencing that you want to be continuing to experience. So, you know, if you are really in a deep meditative practice and you are wanting to engage even more in that, holding some clear quartz when you are meditating will be a great practice for that. But I've also brought in some citrine as well, which is amazing for working with the solar plexus chakra. And I think that's where a lot of you are right now, is having to really stand strong in your beliefs, and, you know, you're knowing that this is your experience and this is what you chose to be your experience. And I've definitely been in a space of that myself, you know, recovering from all of this dark energy that I was transmuting. I just thought, I can't do this, you know, some part of me would just felt like I couldn't do this, I couldn't step forward. And I've really been having to work on that muscle again, to remind myself of why I'm here, why I chose to step forward, and why, you know, I have gone through everything that I've gone through, so that I can keep shining my light, and for that to be a space that other people can step forward and engage with me in that as well. So allow for you to shine, because that means you're going to be drawing a lot more people towards you as well. And I think some of you are really, you know, craving community at this time, and, you know, we are here for that. We want to be creating a community, we want to be creating a space where we can all engage together and be speaking about our experiences. So come back to your solar plexus, come back to your, I am, your sunlight, your shining light, because that's what needs to be shining at this time, everyone. And yeah, that leads me on to blue tiger's eye as well. And I've just created a post for blue tiger's eye over on my Instagram. But this crystal is amazing for tapping into the other, tapping into your entire chakra column, and allowing you to engage with your third eye and trusting in what you're experiencing is your reality. And I've been in some very strange spaces of late, and it's almost like I've been shown things that have happened to me in the past, but in my full capacity now, I can understand them differently. And I was put in a situation where I felt really uneasy about someone, actually. And, I wasn't entirely sure what was happening in that certain scenario, but I just felt like I just didn't trust what was happening in my physical plane of existence with this person. And, it was almost like I could tap into the energies of all timelines that they were engaging in at this time. So I had, a situation happening, a person here, but I could feel into the energy past them. And I realized that I've always had this ability. And, for a lot of my life, I very much kept myself a step back from everyone else because it just didn't feel safe for me to be engaging with people. And I didn't know that that's what it was, but I always felt like I had my people that I very much trusted. And, I knew straight away the people that I really liked and I wanted them to be in my space. I just intuitively knew. But for the most part, a lot of other people, I just felt like I needed to take a step back. And I realized it's because the person that was stood in front of me, it wasn't just that person that I was picking up on. I was picking up on the different timelines that they are also engaging in, and anything that this person has ever been involved in. So it was like I could see their light and their shadow at the exact same time, and that just didn't feel safe to me. I just wasn't aware of that was what I was tapping into. But I didn't trust a lot of people because I could tap into the everything that they've ever done, and that doesn't mean that these people are bad. We all have things that we wish perhaps we behaved differently, or the spaces where we perhaps should have spoke up and confessed our sins, all things like that. So I was picking up on this energy from people all of the time, and having this be a situation that I was faced with right now, I thought, gosh, my life makes so much more sense to me now that I'm awake, because I just didn't understand a lot of people. I felt very confused by them, and I was one of those people that I would trust everyone until they prove themselves to be distrustworthy towards me. But I just always had an inkling about certain people or spaces, and I just felt like that's not where I need to be residing. So I guess trust in your knowing everyone, but also trust that sometimes we pick up on everything, and that isn't the everything that this person is right here and right now. And I realize that I can pick up on past lives, on which is technically parallel lives, and different time space continuums that are attached to people, but that is not the them that is stood right in front of me right now. So I guess trust that you can trust your intuition, but also give people a little bit more room to prove themselves to you, is what I want to say. I think some of you might be questioning a few people in your vicinity right now, and maybe questioning relationships or why they are there, or perhaps if you should be continuing relationships and what that might mean for you moving forward. So I think me bringing that situation, that scenario to the forefront is just to help you understand that sometimes we feel into the everything when actually we need to take things on face value. And that was a massive lesson for me, is that a lot of the time I think I felt very confused because I couldn't differentiate between the past, the present, and what was physically in front of me. And I think I confused a lot of people, and I think there were certain situations in my life where I responded in such a way because I could just feel the darkness in someone, and I couldn't, feel the light of them. And I'm in much better capacity for me to be able to understand that right now. But I thought actually a lot of my life I felt very confused just because I didn't know what I was connecting in with. So make sure that you are, strengthening your resolve in terms of your intuition and trusting your knowing, but also giving people room to change, for one, giving them room to prove themselves to you. And for taking things on face value, we can't always just trust a feeling. We have to go off of much more than that. Come from the heart space, come from the mind, come from the sensing, and ask your teams of light to show you the truth as well. And I always go back to my teams now on anything before I make a decision, because I know that they are looking out for my highest good, and my higher self is with them. And Yeah, I hope this is making sense what I'm trying to say, but I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I think it was for a reason. I think some of you that's going to completely align with. But I digress. I'm going back to crystals, and I've got some smoky quartz as well, which is amazing for allowing you to tap into your shadow, allowing you to access those negative aspects of self that you want to be transmuting. And I will often sit with some smoky quartz and write out all of those things that, are my shadow that I need to be looking at. And this is a practice that I've done time and time and time again on this journey, is looking at those spaces that are icky, looking at those spaces that feel uncomfortable, looking at those spaces that feel like I don't want to be looking at them, because those are exactly the spaces that we need to be looking at, everyone. And I think some of you are coming into an intense time in shadow season and having to work through some of those negative aspects of self that might need to be integrated in a much more balanced way, in a much more balanced form, and having to, I think, face the music of who you are at a soul's level and accepting that to be your truth and that to be okay. It took me a really long time to forgive myself for certain situations and how I've behaved in the past, and, allowing myself to see my faults, and, I'm only human somewhere as well at the end of the day, and allowing that to be okay, and to giving others the grace to be human too. I think it can be a really tricky territory to get in when we are expanding, and to cast judgment on others that perhaps aren't moving in the same ways as us, perhaps aren't moving as fast as we would like them to move if we are close with them, our family, our friends, our significant others. But we have to give everyone the room to grow, to expand, to prove themselves. This message is coming through loud and clear, is allowing people to prove themselves to you before you make decisions upon people, and allowing people space to grow, because then they have their full capacity to come into, and you're not stifling them as well by suffocating them, perhaps on pushing your path on them when they need to find their own space, everyone. But I think the final thing that I want to share is that the veil is just so thin at this time. So just be aware, everyone. Be aware of what is happening around you, and make sure to be cleansing your energy, having your incense, burning your sage, opening your windows. I've been using a lot of salt around my bed, on my altar, and my windowsill spaces. I've been putting salt around those spaces just because I know that what I've been working with, there is a lot of beings out there that don't want me to be sharing this information, and I just want to take all precautions. So for those that, you know that you might be battling in other spaces, this might be in dream time that you've been picking this up on, or you've been receiving flashes of images that have nothing to do with this physical plane of existence that you're walking in right now. Trust in that as a warning, trust in that as a knowing, to be protecting yourself, to be making sure that we are checking in with self every day and coming back to our daily practices. I think I'm often shocked when I speak to people and I know that they're on an expansive path, and I have one-to-ones with them and I say, what's your daily practice? And a lot of them say, no, I don't specifically have one. And yet they're engaging in such expanse. And my first thing is okay, like, whoa, like, we need to get you a daily small routine so that you can feel some stability. And I think this is something that is so important and gets missed so much on this journey, is that we need to have a stable two-footing on this ground, for us to be able to feel safe enough to be expanding, to be engaging in different dimensions and spaces. And I realized quite early on that I didn't feel safe, because I didn't have a solid footing here. I didn't have a safe space. I didn't have a safe environment around me. And as soon as I started to create that safe space, which was within me, I started to create a space within me that I could trust, that I knew that I could look after me, and bringing my little girl into that as well, and my younger self, my inner child. I see her very much as an equal to me now, and I pull her in, to ask her how she's feeling as well, so that I can feel fullest in my capacity to be expanding and to be inviting other things into my realm, into my plane of existence. And I was very much reminded this morning in a one-to-one with someone that that first initial practice of getting to know your guides and what that feels like, and how disorientating that is, how exciting and how terrifying it is all at the same time. And it was really nice to go back to the beginning and remember all of that and where I found myself on my journey, and having to trust the things that I was sensing, the little things that were coming in, all of the synchronicities. And yeah, trusting the universe speaking back at me. And I think that's exactly where some of you are right now. And, you know, that's an incredibly beautiful time to be engaging with, you know, this world a little bit deeper, to be speaking to the universes, to be, you know, engaging with your guides. And it should be an exciting time. And I know that a lot of the things we speak about on this channel specifically, you know, is pretty heavy, is pretty dark a lot of the time, but we really want to be creating a space of, you know, expanse and in the fun of that as well. And, you know, we are here for the hard work, but also this is exciting, this is fun. And, you know, I couldn't be more grateful where I find myself. And I'm trying to remind myself just how, you know, magical this all is and how grateful I am to be in this. And, you know, I would much rather have a bad day, you know, a sad day, a day where I feel a little bit depressed, you know, in my journey right now, than pre-awakening. You know, I remember how heavy it felt, how, you know, utterly gut-wrenching it felt some days to just be waking up every day and just think, is this it, you know? And I'm really glad to be at a space now where I knew that I was so upset somewhere because I knew this wasn't just it. I had a sense of there was more, but I just didn't know what it was at that time because it wasn't my time to be awake. But now that I'm awake, you know, I'm really grateful for where I am. And I have to remind myself of all the precious moments, of all the fun that can be had, of all, yeah, those real heartfelt moments that I have, you know, engaging with others on their expanse. And yeah, having time with my teams of light, you know. And I'm really starting to go back again into my spiritual practice, into my daily practice, and to take that a lot deeper because I've expanded so much. And specifically in the past few weeks, you know, harboring this dark energy, having to transmute that, I've completely skyrocketed in some spaces, and I haven't given myself that chance to really acclimatize and, you know, to be tuning into what I can tune into now. And I think it's very easy to get complacent on our journey and, you know, happy for our expense and what is going on. But there is always more to be engaging with. There is always more to be, expanding in, but in the best possible way. And yeah, I feel a lot of people's guides here and, you know, in encouragement. And I'm very grateful to be where I am and to be able to be tapping into all of these energies. So, you know, if you would like to be working with me on a much personal level, do not hesitate to reach out because I can help you, you know, find the best daily practices for you, help you to understand where you might be in your journey and what might you need to be looking at a little bit deeper at this time, because I think a lot has gone on, a lot energetically has happened, and I think a lot of us have just got lost in the source, I like to say. And I definitely have to hold my hands up and say I've definitely been in that space too, and I've had to claw it all back. I've had to bring it all back to basics and be combing through what I want to be experiencing, where I want to be expanding, and, you know, how I can best help myself stay in a much more positive state of mind throughout the day, because this veil is so thin. So those darker energies are just coming in closer and closer and closer and closer, and I can feel them, I can see them, you know. And I'm having to say no. I'm having to say no more. I'm having to expand. I'm having to shine my light bigger so that they can't get so close to me. And I think that's where a lot of you find yourselves now. But if you do have questions, don't hesitate to shoot those over to me, or you can email me or any of us Light Renegades to be working with us at this time. But I think that's all that's come through today, everyone. But have an amazing weekend, and I'll be back very soon. Take care.